What if Yamaha brought back a motorcycle so simple, so lightweight, and so ridiculously fun that it reminded everyone why they fell in love with riding in the first place? And here's the twist. This bike wouldn't need massive horsepower, expensive electronics, or aggressive styling to become a legend all over again. Welcome back to Acer Rider, and today we're talking about the return of a true two-stroke icon, the 2026 Yamaha DT175. Now let me say this right away. The Yamaha DT series was never about perfection. It was about freedom. And the DT175? That bike hit a sweet spot that almost no modern motorcycle really captures anymore. Lightweight, simple, affordable, and capable of doing almost anything you asked from it. Roads? Easy. Trails? No problem. Daily riding? Absolutely. And honestly, this is where my personal connection with a bike like this really comes in, because I genuinely think modern motorcycles have become too serious. Everything now feels engineered for a purpose. Racetracks, long-distance touring, extreme adventure riding. But very few bikes are built around one simple idea. Just have fun. That's what the original DT175 represented. Back in the 1970s and 80s, the Yamaha DT175 became one of the most loved lightweight dual sport bikes in the world. It used a 171 cubic centimeters air-cooled two-stroke single-cylinder engine with Yamaha's Autolube oil injection system, producing around 16 horsepower depending on the year and market. amn.wikipedia.org. Now those numbers don't sound impressive today, but trust me, that's not the point. Because the magic of a bike like this was never about raw power. It was about how it felt. And if Yamaha ever brought back the 2026 Yamaha DT175, that feeling would be everything. Now let's talk design first, because honestly, this bike needs to look like a DT. No futuristic bodywork, no oversized adventure styling, no unnecessary aggression. Keep it slim, keep it light, keep it playful. Picture this: classic Yamaha-inspired graphics. Slim fuel tank, flat seat high, front fender spoke wheels, lightweight frame. And personally, I'd love to see Yamaha keep that old school enduro stance, because I think bikes like this should look approachable, not intimidating. And this is something I personally value a lot. Sometimes the best bikes are the ones that make you want to jump on and ride immediately, without planning anything. Now let's get to the engine, because this is where things become really interesting. And honestly, controversial, because the original DT175 was a two-stroke. And if you know anything about two-strokes, you already know they feel different. The power delivery, the sound, the smell, the lightweight feel. There's just something raw and exciting about them that modern four-strokes don't fully replicate. And I'll be honest, I miss that feeling. There's something incredibly alive about a small two-stroke engine. It feels energetic, responsive, almost playful. Now, realistically, a modern version would probably need to use a cleaner four-stroke engine because of emissions regulations. But here's my personal take: if Yamaha could somehow keep even a little bit of that original DT character, this bike could become something really special. A modern 175 cubic centimeters to 200 cubic centimeters engine, lightweight chassis, and quick throttle response would already make a huge difference. Because at the end of the day, this bike doesn't need to be fast. It just needs to feel fun. Now, performance, and this is where the DT175 could absolutely dominate. The original DT175 weighed around 105 to 110 kilograms, depending on the model, Bikeist.com. That's incredibly light. And I'll say this clearly: weight matters more than people realize. A lightweight bike changes everything. You feel more confident. You ride more aggressively. You recover from mistakes more easily. And most importantly, you smile more. And this is something I personally believe strongly. I'd rather ride a lightweight bike at its limit than ride a powerful bike at half its potential. That's real fun to me. Now imagine the 2026 Yamaha DT175 with modern suspension, better frame rigidity, improved brakes, modern tires. It would still feel playful, but much more capable than the original. You could commute during the week and hit trails on weekends without changing anything. And honestly, that versatility is what made the original DT series so loved. Now, suspension, This is where Yamaha could really improve the experience. The original bikes had decent travel for their era, but modern suspension technology would transform this machine. Long travel forks and a proper rear monoshock setup would make rough roads and trails feel effortless. And personally, that's exactly the kind of riding I enjoy most. Not perfect roads, not smooth highways. I like bikes that encourage exploration. Bikes that make you turn onto random dirt roads just to see where they go. And the DT175 has always been that kind of machine. Now let's talk braking. The original models often used drum brakes, which were acceptable back then, but definitely outdated now. So a modern version would absolutely need front disc brake, rear disc brake, ABS, at least switchable for off-road riding. And honestly, that's enough because this bike should stay simple. Now features, this is where I really hope Yamaha shows restraint. Fuel injection? Sure. LED lighting? Fine. Simple digital display? Okay. But beyond that, don't overload it. No complicated electronics, no endless riding modes, no unnecessary distractions, because the simplicity is part of the charm. And this is something I personally feel strongly about. When a bike becomes too advanced, it sometimes loses personality. Now let's talk about who this bike is really for. And honestly, almost everyone. Beginners would love it because it's lightweight and manageable. Experienced riders would love it because it's fun and refreshing. And riders like me, this is exactly the kind of bike I'd keep in the garage even if I owned bigger machines. Because sometimes you don't want speed. Sometimes you just want a motorcycle that reminds you why riding is fun. And the 2026 Yamaha DT175 could absolutely do that. Now here's the twist I mentioned at the beginning. What if this bike becomes popular not because it's powerful, but because it feels real? Because in a world full of oversized, overcomplicated motorcycles, a simple, lightweight machine suddenly feels refreshing again. And honestly, I think that's exactly where the industry is heading. People are starting to realize that enjoyment matters more than numbers. And bikes like the DT175 prove that perfectly. So the real question is, would you ride a modern Yamaha DT175? A lightweight, simple, playful machine designed around pure riding enjoyment instead of spec sheets? Because I'll be honest, I absolutely would. Not because it's the fastest, but because it might be one of the most fun bikes you could actually own. If this brought back some memories, or maybe made you wish Yamaha would really build this, hit that like button, drop your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to Acer Rider. Because here we don't just talk about motorcycles, we talk about the feeling that makes riding unforgettable. And before we wrap this up, quick disclaimer. The 2026 Yamaha DT175 discussed here is not an officially confirmed model by Yamaha. This concept is based on historical inspiration, current industry trends, and creative interpretation with AI-assisted insights for entertainment and discussion purposes. Because sometimes, the smallest bikes leave the biggest memories.